I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm kind of busy today, so if we can
Oh, you want to talk about actual Runeterra?
I don't
If you
know.
guys could be more respectful of Jason's time, okay, he's a big time Jeopardy host now, okay?
I'm sorry, Jason.
Is your agent calling? Do you have to book another show? Are you
I need to
gonna
write
carry
an
it?
article. I need to make tomorrow's video, and then
So you don't want to be here, Jason? Is that
get
the
some
problem?
Jeopardy stuff
I
done.
don't know. Oh, you met him.
He's
You
all
run
right.
2 podcasts. Don't pretend like you don't love doing
I'm on
this.
3 podcasts. Okay, how about
Whatever.
you
I
fuck
don't
off?
care.
Jason's got a hard out. Got a hard out.
All right, I forgot about the actual MR podcast.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks, man.
That one I don't count.
Is it 'cause you're
basically just us
dumb?
sitting there and riffing for like 50 minutes anyway.
Yeah, so
Maybe he
different
just
than
shows up
this.
when he wants to.
All right, Runeterra stuff, so we can get Jason to his very.
Oh, were we
important-
live, by the way? I forgot.
We've been live, yeah.
We've been live the whole time. Yeah, bro. This is so just so you guys know, this is why Henneky and Jason are like behind the scenes. They seem real nice in front of the camera. The behind the scenes are like,
I
can you,
didn't say anything of
could
that.
you
mean.
fucking idiots hurry the fuck up? Okay, you fucking dum dums.
I got more
They're like-
important things to do here.
Got
Come
more
on.
Yeah.
Show.
If we didn't pay them to be here,
We did pay them to be here. Wait, you guys are getting paid?
checks in the mail. Okay, let's start with Jason then. Bro, I just watched Jeopardy before we hopped on. I absolutely loved it. That was so fucking good. Like 10 out of 10. Hats off to you. For anyone that doesn't know, I asked him how long it took him to put that together. He said like under 10 hours, which I found to be absolutely shocking because it is
including actually doing it under 10 hours.
it's wild.
Yeah,
It's wild. Yeah. How then? How do you guys want to hear from you guys firsthand? You know, hosting it and being a contestant. What were your thoughts?
Go ahead, Mr. Host.
I don't know. It was just something that I saw. I got the inspiration from someone who did it in Hearthstone. It was basically like the same thing. I copied a lot of what someone else did in the Hearthstone scene. It was just something that kind of showed up, and I was like, hey, this is really cool. And I used to play a lot of Hearthstone, so I was like, I was answering it with while I was watching. And it was really fun. So I thought, like, when I like put my mind to something that I think is pretty easily doable, if I just need to put in a little bit of time to do, then I just did it. And I was like, okay, who wants to be on it? Let's just give it a try. And so that was pretty much how it went. And I think it went pretty well. All things considered, as a first run, there's things that could have been smoothed out, and there's some feedback that I received on like the comment section, things like that. I'll try to implement, and then we'll try to get some more people rotating in and out, because it's more or less just like for like, I guess, like people within the community kind of get like hang out for a little bit, I guess, because that's something that I generally try to do, and hopefully we can get more people on.
So you're planning to do it every week, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So I'm Ruben, actually. So I tagged Ruben on Twitter. I was like, hey, do you want to be on next week's Jeopardy? And he liked my comment. And so I DM'd him on Discord, but he has yet to respond.
Didn't he respond to you on Twitter? You asked him if he
he-
wanted to go on Monday night, and you're like, sure, it's
Yeah,
Tuesday.
sure, but it's Tuesday.
It's
I was like, "You guys
Tuesday."
are a clown. Oh my
He
lord.
was too busy getting. He's he's in the front page of the leaderboard right now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
What's he
That's really
playing?
A Phalios with Winding Light.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
What a
He's rank 1 now, Floppy says.
Oh,
Wait,
what?
actually?
Yeah.
Jacked. I was
Yeah,
just going to talk
that's
about
like-
Majin being rank 1, but I guess I'll just
not
skip that.
anymore.
Skip over
No,
that.
you pretty much I pretty much hit it, and I was like, this will be gone in 5 minutes.
We started the podcast too late.
Oh, he must have just won because like Runeterra AR hasn't
Wow.
updated it yet. He's at 624. He must have just won his last one to put him at, I'm assuming, 639.
What a demon.
Babe, what did you
What?
make your climb with?
Crazy life. Annie Ezreal.
Huh.
So Annie Ezreal's like probably my favorite deck of the season to play, but it was like kind of bad. And then Ace went to rank 1 with it, and I was like, well, if he can do it,
I accept.
And yeah, so I took his list. I played it for quite a bit, up to like, I don't know, 500. And then I took some cards and changed them out. Like he had 2 copies of Progress Day and 1 Scorched Earth, and I went up to 3 copies. I eventually went to 2 copies of Whispered Words instead of the Progress Day, and found a slot for another Scorched Earth because people are playing Akshan Infinite now. And yeah, just kind of worked out. It's really good in the Demacia strategies. Now, like you lose to the Galio Bard one, but you beat the Poppy one like pretty handedly. And I also feel pretty good against Thralls unless they like nut you, which happens
Right.
a lot. Yeah, deck felt very good. It was just very fun to play.
I kind of feel like Thralls doesn't really nut out anymore in terms of its draws. It just does.
It kind of just
thing
does,
it does
yeah.
is summon.
Anytime you get hit with like 4 or 5 Thralls on turn
every game.
6, then like I consider that a nut.
The 4 Thralls is a bit much, but
it's tough. Yeah,
it's pretty common.
Deck's pretty consistent now. It's pretty consistent. The other thing that like the big change that Ace was running over like some of the standard lists was the full 3-station Archivist, which I like wholeheartedly agree with. I think they're really, really good. And then that's another reason why I went Whispered Words over Poggers Day, was because I wanted a draw spell I could hit off Archivist, because that's so often what I'm looking to do when I play Archivist is generate card advantage on turn like 5, right? And so I'm looking for Static Shock or Progress Day, but I can't cast Progress Day after Archivist till like way, way, way late in the game. So I swapped it for Whispered Words. So on turn 4 or 5, I can go Archivist Whispered Words if I miss on Static Shock or Mystic or whatever I'm looking for.
That's fair enough. I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Do you think people are like experimenting more, and maybe that makes it easier to climb right now? Because like I find that tends to happen where everyone like figures out what's really good, tries to use that for a bit, and then everyone just kind of, I don't know, gets lazy or tired and like wants to play new stuff, and just like the meta gets like a little bit softer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, but I mean, I think almost every single game was against Poppy Demacia, Zoe Aphelios, PNZ, Thralls, Ari Bard, and Drizzoth Pile.
So were you just well positioned?
Only good decks. What's up?
Were you just well positioned against them then?
I was well positioned. Yeah, you have a pretty good matchup into the Ari Bard as well, because like,
it's a Bard
unlike
deck.
Ari Kennen, I mean, a little bit, but like, the Disintegrates give you like such a huge advantage over when you didn't have Disintegrates and you were playing like PNZ against Ari Kennen. It was like if they got a unit that had like 3 health, 4 health or whatever, and they were attacking you, like you just couldn't kill it, right? They attack with Ari and they have Twin Disciplines, like you just can't kill it. You can't stop that. But now I get to threaten with Disintegrate, which is like really, really good. And one of my favorite play patterns is like they play something and then I just Disintegrate it. Like nothing else on the stack. I'm just like Disintegrate, and they have to decide like, okay, do I counter this? Because if they counter that, I just give up for the turn and I try again later. And if they don't, then I get to start throwing really bad spells at it. And like, then they have to deal with those. It puts them in really awkward forks, and you have a pretty decent clock because they can't block you very well.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Henneky, have you been playing much lately?
I had a couple sessions the past couple of days. Some of them have been very positive. Some of them have been very, very, very negative.
I'll be right back. Food shut up.
So it's been a net loss over the past few days. Just trying out a bunch of random stuff that just wasn't working. And then I would go back to the things that had worked for me before, and none of it was working. So now I'm just playing Zoe Aphelios.
Yeah, yesterday I played like 16 or so games, and I played against like 14 different decks, and I was like, I was just like messing around and having fun. But then like recently or something, like apparently like Infinite's a thing on ladder again for some stupid reason. So
that's great.
I really haven't touched ladder since, so I just really don't want to play against that right now.
Can we talk about that deck?
Yes. Let's talk
we're gonna have to talk about it.
This is the thing.
I want to hear
people,
what everybody thinks about it.
Yeah, let me go first. For people like Jay Sensational and Whatami and anyone else that doesn't like that deck, this is what you do. You look straight into the mirror and then you take your hand slowly to the right of your face, and then you just fucking slap yourself because, like, what the fuck? It's just a Runeterra deck, and it's fucking fun. It's awesome. It doesn't even take that long to kill you. All right, click the fucking button faster. I'll kill you real quick. Don't worry. I'm gonna draw my cards. Gonna drop my fucking units. You're gonna be fucking dead. Or hit the fucking gear icon. Click and see, little bitch, because you're dead. It's done. Get out. It's over. Deck's awesome. I wish there was more of it. Runeterra LOR will kill it soon because they don't want it in the game. They've said very specifically it will not be in the game. They don't want anything like that, so it'll probably get fucking hit. But I love it, and I'll fucking do it while I can. Who's up next?
That's nice.
I don't know. I saw a game where Majin was playing on stream against Infinite, and your opponent just like sat there, did his thing for like 7 minutes, and then messed up, and then Majin won.
So you just can't concede. It is
you could have conceded and won a new game in that 7 minutes. Like, Jesus Christ.
But I won the first.
But then he loses OP.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know.
Open up a fucking tab. Fucking do your taxes.
Play a blitz game of chess. That's what I do.
It's not the kind of combo I like in the game, so I kind of hate it. But
yeah, I don't know. I've only played against the deck twice, and I've lost to it twice. But I don't think that deck's good at all, so I just don't really care.
I think it's bad.
I disagree.
I don't think it's. I think Bay thinks it's better than I do. I think. I think it's good, but I think people just play it against it really poorly, and that the meta has it shifted around a little bit.
Pre-nerf Monoshima,
yeah, I mean,
just more polarizing.
Yeah, kind of.
There's decks that can't beat it, but like, I don't know.
It's I think it's very powerful. I think it's very, very powerful. I love combo decks. The last Infinite combo deck was kind of a pain in the ass because sometimes it would just take 15-20 minutes for your opponent to kill you. That's not the case here. Like, I whiffed on basically everything you could whiff on in a game today in stream, and I still killed my opponent in like 5 minutes. And I whiffed. Yeah, but I literally had 4 cards and missed my predict on the win condition like 3 times. Like, I whiffed all the way down to the bottom of my deck. And it still took me like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's a long time, but that's like the maximum it should ever be. If you
do the combo, you should win. Of course. That's not really
the problem is like there's a lot of players that don't know how to play it, and so like you're gonna be there for a while. But that's the same as like if you played someone down in bronze and they just roped you every single turn of every decision, you'd be there for a while too. Yeah, it's like that's the problem with it. Trust me, I'll kill you real quick. Don't worry about it. I got you, baby. Henneky, you can sit there like shh. No, it's okay, baby. It'll be done so soon.
Okay, I'm not upset about the deck existing. Like, I want to be clear. Like, I don't care that people can do the Infinite thing. I think it's fine. I played the original Infinite.
So why don't you like it then?
I don't think the deck is strong. That's all I said. I didn't say I didn't like the deck.
Okay.
I just think it sucks.
Yeah, Majid, do you think it's tier 1? Because I don't think it's tier 1. I think it's like high tier 2.
Yeah, I would say high tier 2. I mean, anything that polarized, I have a hard time ever putting in tier 1. But it is very good. It's very hard to play, especially if you're not used to like actual combo decks, right? In Runeterra, we don't have them. We've never had them. But like actual combo decks require a different kind of play.
Right.
I'd say like Glorious Evolution, show folks close to that.
That was the closest we got. Yeah, that was the closest we got. But yeah, this deck plays a little bit more kind of like Storm almost. Where a lot of times you're sitting there and you're like, okay, like I have a ponder or whatever, and what are my odds of this, this, and this? Like, okay, well, this is the most mathematically optimal line, so I have to take that, right? Like, I've seen this many of this card, it's less likely to hit that, so I'll take this line instead. You know, a lot of stuff like that. And if you're not used to those kind of things, you're going to struggle with the deck. You're easily losing like 10%, and you probably don't even know where. You're just like not winning, right? Not saying like you guys. I'm just saying like if some guy who's playing the deck in gold probably loses 10, 15, 20% and like doesn't even know where it went or like why. You're just like, I'm playing the deck. It's just not doing the thing.
Sure.
So I think it's quite good. I think unless we get a little bit better landmark removal or Sands of Time gets nerfed, I don't think the deck is super healthy.
Apparently landmark removal is getting buffed. But if you have some landmark removal and a clock, like fucking good night.
I have blown up their Akshan vault twice in a game. Was gonna kill them on turn 8 and still lost. I was like, oh my god, this is so miserable. It's just like, and some decks just can't interact with it.
Fair enough. Shoot, there's one thing I was going to say about that deck, but I can't remember now. I forgot that I did a Q&A from the Discord. We have some questions for the Discord.
Oh,
Do you guys want to run through them here?
Sure.
So we'll start off with kind of a big one. We'll make these quick because there's a decent amount of them. But best practices for making the most use of your Smurf accounts when you have a reason to not spend that time playing on your main account, but still need to get reps in. Any other means of investing time towards the goal of leveling up that are separate from grinding on your main? Reviewing VODs would be an obvious one, but curious about others beyond this. Scrims are another, but this requires being one of the cool kids. Sag. So
wait, what's the question? Is it pertaining to Smurf specific? Like what?
Yeah, it started at Smurfs, then it went to like, how do you get good?
I think it's basically like, what do you do when you're not grinding ladder? What's the best way to get good when you're not grinding ladder? Is kind of how I interpreted that.
That's yes.
Just watch games, watch your own games, watch opponents,
other people's,
or watch like other people's games. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's generally like the best thing you can do. Is not just like and have a good look at why you're making mistakes. I think I record every game I play, even though I don't stream at all, and I go over them pretty regularly. And I feel like that's a pretty good tool to learn, because then you can identify what you messed up. And then I also learn a lot from watching other people play, because other people are just going to have completely different thought processes and ideas in similar positions. You know, if I'm watching and I'm like playing along, in this position, it's so obvious I missed a shot already, right? But then Maj might do something different, and I can figure out why he might want to do that or whatever.
Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know, right? It's hard to teach yourself new things. Like you can pick up on obvious mistakes, but like new strategies and stuff, or new ways to play matchups and stuff, it's like that's kind of tough to do on your own always. So yeah, watching other people is really good.
Some of my best level ups have been backseating other people, basically, like in my head, exactly what Henneky's talking about. It's like anytime you watch someone else, you want to make the play before they make the play. You want to be like, okay, here I would do this. I'm very inclined to do this here. And then you see what they do. And then you like line it up with, okay, why did they do something different? Like, what are they playing around? What are they advancing towards? And
yeah, or if you could talk to them too, right?
Yeah, you could talk to them sometimes on Discord. If you're watching stream and you're like confused with something, like ask them. Some of my biggest level ups have been when I've been like, why the fuck did you do that?
Totally.
Like, that seems so bad. And then they're like, okay, well, and it's usually like more of a macro than a micro thing. It's usually like, okay, well, in this matchup, it's very important that this happens or doesn't happen. And so if I do this, then they're more like, then this is less incentivized, and it'll probably
let them
get
Ezreal down.
Exactly. And then you're like, oh, right. And like those,
and then you
those
start
kind
winning.
of like, exactly. Those kind of like, it's like a click moment, right? Like, aha. And it changes the way you like play things. These are the ways that I feel like I really get good, not just like squeezing out slightly better micro plays, because those like macro decisions, my game plan, it affects every decision I make.
Yeah, it's so easy. Everything becomes so easy when they're like, hey, don't let Ezreal come down flipped and have them burn you out. If you don't do that, you're going to just get them eventually. So just make sure that never happens. You're like, oh, okay, that's the game plan. And then as you go through, you're like, can I cast this unit here? Well, nope, I can't cast my Thermo anymore, my removal spell, so I can't kill an Ezreal. So nope, I can't do that. So I pass to you. And like, it makes the whole thing so much easier.
And you pick up the little tricks along the way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up, sorry, Jason, do you have anything to say about
that? Sure. I'll add a quick point from my side. I'm a little bit less focused on like super competitive stuff. I'm taking a little bit of step back here and there, but so from my side of things, it's a little bit less about how like get better at a certain like deck or per se, like less of the nitty gritty stuff. Or I think I am better as like a player is being able to pick up on like any deck really. And that sort of comes from a mixture of just repetition, or it's like playing like any sort of deck, whether it's like good or bad. And that's like kind of thing I I did do when I was playing on the Smurf. I just played like any deck that I saw pop up on ladder stats, like the 0.5% play rate, but like 55% win rate kind of decks. I would just pick those up, grind them for like 5-10 games, get a feel for them, and just see if I could like play the deck at a relatively okay level and try to understand how the deck really aims to win or lose in specific matchups without maybe necessarily having like that sort of expertise behind a deck. And I think that's an interesting way to like sort of develop just like a general game sense of like how like specific archetypes or decks play out against certain things. And I think that's pretty good transferable when you're trying to just pick up anything new. And so I'm less focused on like getting better at a specific deck because I don't really have the time or the mental fortitude or like the competitive edge for that right now. But that's just sort of my approach to like how I get better or how I'm as a player.
Yeah, I think that has a lot of value for sure. Okay, next up.
Last little snippet. We've said this a million times, but I'm a huge fan of playing all the decks that beat you.
Yeah,
like if you have a deck that beats you consistently, you struggle with, you should go play it. Go play 5-10 games, like Jason was saying, because then you're like these spots. You're like they always have it. You realize that like they don't always have it, and you find out what turns are like kind of weak for them, right? Like this turn they can't really apply much pressure, so
right.
I'm gonna
and
do
it's
this.
like what cards are generally in their hand, like what cards will they not have played by this point in the game.
Yep.
Okay, next question. What does the Giant Slayer announcement mean about the future of competitive play? For anyone who doesn't know, this is them stopping doing fight nights. I'm not really surprised by this. So Riot, I'm pretty sure, was sponsoring fight night. Like that's how it happened. And it always seems strange to me that if Riot was going to be putting on a tournament series, why it would be one that affects such a small portion of the player base if they didn't also have something that affected a large portion. Yeah, they're seasonals, but if you're gonna do a weekly thing, like you could just do like Riot Games, like hand out $200 in prize and be like, anyone can join this tournament. And that seems like it would be much better for the community to me than Fight Night was, and they wouldn't do that. So the whole thing was like a little strange to me. Beagle, relax. So cute. It's definitely not good. Obviously, as Bay will point out, anything getting taken away is not good. Will it be replaced by something else? Maybe. I know the Blevins has talked about doing lots of different things. He, for like months now, has talked about doing new things because he was in charge of Giant Slayer's LR offerings. I don't know if he still is. He talked about doing like an America's, what is it called? Like the ones they have in Asia now.
Masters,
yeah, like an America's Masters and like other different ideas. So we'll see. I mean, it didn't get replaced with anything immediately, so that's not great. But yeah, not surprised. Yeah, I guess it's bad. I'll say it's bad.
I'm the pessimistic one. And this is where I'm supposed to say it's really bad, but I don't actually think that. It's a loss for sure, but like Giant Slayer.
I thought it was good too. I just want to see if you would agree with me or not. Ha!
I think that like Giant Slayer and Wisdom has been growing a ton, and they have their hands in a lot of things, and everything else is like much more profitable for them and gains much more viewers. So like,
but they're not the ones that cut it, bro. Riot's the one that cut it.
Sure, but they're not gonna fight for it. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
they're gonna be like, oh, well, we'll do a non-sponsored. Like, no shot. So like, I'm not really surprised. Is what it is. Losing Fight Night kind of sucks, but
I had no idea Riot. Are you sure Riot was like sponsoring this kind of events?
Are you sure Riot cut it?
I don't know about cut it, but I'm pretty sure Riot
was sponsoring it.
Okay.
And so like maybe Giant Slayer said they didn't want to do it anymore, but like that seems unlikely.
I can understand why they wouldn't want to do it anymore from their side. That's what I thought was happening.
It's definitely possible, but like they're in bed with Riot. Riot's like a really big deal for them. Yeah. So like even if it's a loss leader, even if it's like bad for them to do it, just like keeping that good relationship with Riot seems like why would you ever go down that road? I'm pretty sure.
Well, they have a good relationship, whether or not LOR exists, right?
Yeah, because they're huge in TFT and Wild Rift. That's like their big money.
I'm just saying, why would you ever be like Riot comes to them like, hey, you want to do seasonals? Or hey, you want to do Fight Night? Yep. Hey, you want to do seasonals? Yep. Hey, you want to do Worlds now? Yep. Hey, you want to do other games? Yep. And then be like, you know what? We don't want to do this one anymore. Take that one back. Fuck you.
I mean, you're allowed to
Seems
say we
weird.
don't want to do things. That's fine. Like, I don't know.
Have you ever run a business before? Do you have any idea of like, you do like, yeah, like, hey, you're our like main customer. Like, we don't want your money.
Right, but it's
They'll
not
be,
like
like
you're...
Riot will be like, okay, well, we'll start working with someone else now, and maybe they do a really good job. And maybe we start handing more stuff to them. Like, why would you ever do that? It makes no sense.
It's not like you're stopping everything. Like, you're literally just cutting a small, like for them, it's a pretty tiny portion of
It's
what
like
they do.
super small.
That's the thing. It's so small. Why would you care to ever just poke the bear?
Because
makes-
it takes time to.
It's a give or take.
It's
I
just
honestly-
not worth it for you.
Well,
I
why do
honestly
you
imagine
want
it's
it?
more like both parties are kind of like, do you want to keep doing Fight Night? And then they're both kind of like, not really.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay. that's how I imagine this situation in my head. They're like, it's not really doing super well.
Oh,
And they're like,
I'm sure they weren't
"Yeah."
like super heartbroken about it. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Well, I'm sure the people that ran it probably were, because they did a fantastic job. But from a business standpoint, yeah, it wasn't like it was like making them money or anything.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's sad, but it's what it is. All right, let's move on.
Next, how many games does it take each of you to get into Diamond? What about Masters? So it depends on when you're climbing. If you're climbing right at the beginning of the reset, it's much harder and it'll take you more games because all of the best players are down in Platinum. If you climb right before seasonals, or you used to be able to climb after seasonals, it would be like you'd have like a 90% win percentage or 80+% win percentage. You would just go straight into Diamond, into Masters.
Yeah, I would say it would take me like 20 games or so to get to Diamond, and then maybe another 20 games to get to Masters, and that's how much I would expect.
That's pretty
it to take.
impressive, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes it's a little longer.
I was doing the math and I was like,
Yeah. I actually have no idea.
Games is such a weird metric for me. Like I've been finding that within the first, between like week 1 and week 2 is generally when I'm able to like make the Masters. I've made in like the first week, sometimes slower, maybe 2, and then sometimes I just don't care. But like games, I can't really say. But from like a time basis, if you like talk from like reset wise, generally between like a week and 2 is generally when I stroll into Masters. Not like super try hard or anything about it, but not to like brag either. But
seriously, like if you're being honest about it, I wouldn't target a amount of time you want to put into it. I would just say I want to play it like at this win rate and track that and aim for that more than say I want to do this in 5 games from now, 10 games from now. Just say I want to win 60% of my games overall, and that'll get you there eventually.
I know like the majority of the time it'll take me about a week, and sometimes it'll take me about 2, because I always have to do kind of more like interesting content at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I have to try out all these new crazy decks that are coming out, these new crazy champs, even if I think they're not good. But like the one time I didn't do that was right when Worlds was coming out, and right when we were like practicing for Worlds, and I think I made Masters in like 2 days, but it was just because I was just playing like the best decks. Right, I was only practicing for Worlds, so I was like, is this like a tier 1 deck? No, not interested. Right, and I think a lot of us, if you're looking to like blitz your way to Masters, or that's like your only concern is getting to Masters, if you're jumping around decks and trying out the new hotness every other day, like you are hamstringing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. Unless someone's got like a gun to your head and they're like, hit Masters in 36 games exactly. Like
you have to keep playing lore, or I'm not going to give you $5,000.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't worry about it. If you're looking for a metric to benchmark yourself off,
there shouldn't be. Yeah, that's not something you should like stress yourself on.
Just take 60% and figure out how many games that would take you.
Yeah. Okay, next up. Is there a specific skill set that players need to compete for the 7 and 2 ladder slots, or is it more about grinding a certain number of games once you find a deck you're confident on?
Sorry,
What's
can you repeat the question?
Is there a specific skill set that players need to compete for the 7 and 2 ladder slots, or is it more about grinding a certain number of games once you find a deck you're confident on? So there are definitely some things that you need to take into account. You have to like take your rating seriously.
Yes.
So that's a big one. So things like when you're playing, what you're playing, like you can't just be like jumping around different decks, trying out new stuff, and kind of lighting your LP on fire here and there. Because like I mean, if you drop down to like a 55% win percentage, you're dropping LP. Like you're falling. So you might be winning with the deck, but you're falling on the leaderboard. Even 60%, you're falling. So you have to take that very seriously and manage it. And then
Very
I mean
seriously.
you have to be a pretty fucking good player to have like a 63, I think, is it 63 break even?
63 to break even.
Yeah, so you need 63 plus. So you like, and I mean if you're at 64, like you're
It's
like
gonna be a grind. Yeah.
yeah, it's not. So you need like a 68 kind of win percentage plus. And typically that'll happen when there's times when a player sort of has an edge. When like the meta isn't quite settled, or they know something that other people don't know, whether it's like they figure out a new deck or a new strategy. And that can happen because you put a lot of reps in, or you're just very good at a certain deck. So like Ace does it all the time, right? But he puts in fucking crazy reps, and he'll play a deck a lot, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, nope, it's not doing it anymore. He'll figure it out. He'll go try something else out.
I think there's a lot of people who get really high ladder spots just like hitting a hot spot. I would say, like, one day you're gonna queue up, you're gonna win 20 games straight on some particular deck just for whatever reason. The meta at the time is just like that. And sometimes you're gonna have to grind it all the way out. But it's hard to say what will happen. But the more you play, the more you're likely to either hit a hot streak or you're just going to consistently climb as long as you're playing tight. One thing you have to really make sure you're keeping track of is that you're not tilting, because that's a big problem I have, is that I'll just like at some point I'll punt like 300 LP, and I do it every season, and it just makes it so much worse to climb for a good ladder spot.
It's very similar to being in a poker tournament where you need to have a lot of patience and you can't fucking tilt.
Yeah.
I'm smart enough to not tilt, but I'm not good enough to like not be like super on edge about whenever I want to play ladder. I had a funny story where I played on an alt and then I got to rank 3, but it was my alt because I just was playing not seriously. Like I was still trying to win, but like I just was loose about it. I didn't care if I lost. And that's like it's hard to like actually put that in mind when you really want to qualify for it. I don't really have good advice for you, but I found generally from my experiences that the less I care about winning, the better I climb. But obviously, when you want to climb, you care about winning. So it's an interesting conundrum. I don't know how to like put it into like actual good advice, but like try not to like take it super seriously. Like still like try to win. I don't know. It's probably just bad advice.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like we say this all the time. Like winning cannot be your only goal. You need to be looking to like improve and stuff and learn matchups, and then winning comes because you're constantly improving, constantly getting better. And it takes the sting away from losing, where otherwise you will tilt. Or at least you're gonna get frustrated or something, discouraged, right? My big one is kind of the same. Oh, what's up?
No, get it one.
I was going to say, like, just mental discipline, basically. The mental discipline to not tilt. The mental discipline to realize that you're not at your best right now. The mental discipline to not switch decks after losing 2-3 in a row, right? Like, we all do that. But when I'm seriously trying to climb, I do not. Like, I pick my deck. This is my deck. I'm playing this deck. I only play right now when I'm playing this deck, and I only play when I think I'm, like, at my best, or at least something close.
Have an edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, to both your points. Sorry, you go.
Sorry, I just want to add to like Henneky's point about like hot streaking, because I feel like a lot of people like be playing like an hour or two on ladder trying to climb and they'll get nowhere and feel like demotivated or something like that. But like honestly, like I think when most of us have ever climbed, it's because we won like a set of like a series of games in a row. And that's really where like your main LP is going to come. So as long as you're like stable and like not losing LP, you're eventually going to like maybe hit a hot streak of like 5 games. That's not be a lot, but you're going to like jump 100 LP and just continue to do that over and over again.
That is exactly how it works. You sit there and you sit in the same pocket of 50 to 75 LP, and then you jump up 100, and then you're at this pocket, and then you spike, and then you're at this pocket.
And then the meta eventually comes back around to where you're like, or you're Kevor.
Yeah. Or you're Kevor and just walk your way to 1,000 LP.
I guess like the main point is like don't be demotivated if you're not necessarily going anywhere in like a certain span of time, because it's probably a lot hard to like gain 100 LP or like 500 LP trying to go like 66% winner of like 500 games or whatever it may be.
Yeah, my biggest leak is that I never use my Smurf. I have like too much ego, or like I just don't give a fuck, and I'm just like, nah, let's play for stakes. Let's play for like, come on, give me that LP. Let's play for the good stuff. Let's go. I don't want to play in fucking platinum, and you have to. Okay, next up, what steps do you gamers take in refining a deck? I ask, what am I to refine my deck for me? Who's next?
Me
what
too.
Do you refine the deck? Yeah. Oh, you say refine?
Refine, yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. I just take other people's decks.
No, I just net deck, yeah, for sure.
I just net deck people, yeah. Well, I net deck people and then tweak it.
Eventually.
Always. Yeah.
Eventually.
I have a story from this week. I kind of tweeted about it like as a joke. But like I was last week I played Fuel the Rush and I went on a little bit of a hot streak. So I won like 15 games. And so later in the week, I deleted my stuff because I don't know why. I ended up deleting my list. So I went onto the leaderboard and I started scrolling. And I was like, does anyone play FTR? I really need an FTR list. So I get down the leaderboard and I click on this thing and it's like, oh, this guy's playing FTR. Finally, I found a list. And it's like, 100 something down. And so I was like, open the list. And I'm like, damn, this list is so bad. And I look over at who it is, and I was like, I was about to net deck myself, and I roasted my own list.
Oh, I love it. Now you know how the rest of us feel. I wonder what that was. You tweeted it out, and then you just went like, and guess who it was? ... I'm like, was it him? Was it me? Like, who the fuck? Who was it? Was it any one of us?
I thought it was like Spikes or something.
That was me.
That's so good.
Like do well with FTR.
That's so fucking good. Okay, next up, I like this next one. Why do you guys never recap the seasonals to see what did well and why? To me, it feels so weird that you always hype up seasonals but barely talk about it afterwards, which is very true. And the main reasons are that after seasonals, the format's dead. So that's one reason. The hype is done. There's like everyone's looking forward to the new patch, the new season, gonna go on a run again. I'm sure if I won seasonals, I'd probably be like, we can talk about this a little bit longer. I don't, but it's like in a poker tournament. If you don't win, you're pissed off and unhappy. Yeah. You came in second. You're like, God damn it! So close to that big money and a bracelet. Fuck. Next, let's go to the next one. Next one.
Hold on, I have something to say about that too.
Okay.
Because I've top 32'd quite a few of them.
Have you?
One or two.
That's what it's one.
When we do this kind of roundtable, I try not to bring up the seasonals very often because it is awkward to ask people who didn't make it. If you you don't want to just keep bringing it up when you're the one who made it. It's like it's awkward.
Thanks for keeping us in consideration.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I don't find that awkward at all.
All right, so
it's top, and you don't have to ask people who don't.
Yeah, it's Thursday or something, right after seasonals.
I'm just mean that I don't feel bad. I'm not like, oh God, we're still talking about it.
Yeah, but it's awkward. Yeah. But let's put you in my shoes. It's Thursday. You top 32. None of us did. We're kind of bitter about it.
I'd be like, guess what, bitches?
Hold on. Let me finish the theoretical.
Oh, okay, all right.
The hypothetical. So it's Thursday, and we're all super excited. We're brewing with the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about what's going to be on top of the meta, and you go, wait. What do you guys think about
how
this
I
deck.
did. At
And
the
we're like,
Singles.
we don't
No,
fucking
I would
care
be
because
just
this
like
new champ's
Mo.
coming
I'd be
out, right?
like, hey guys, do you remember I won a seasonals? Just like hey, what's your favorite LOR card? Like, do you remember that card that was in my deck when I won seasonals? That one, I think, should never shut up about it. Just kidding. Love you, Mo. Decimate. But this happens in Magic too. This happens in Magic all the time. It's like the race up to a Pro Tour is huge. Pro Tour is over. Format's dead. No one really gives a fuck. We could definitely talk about it a little bit more though, and do some like more analysis. I definitely do feel. I get what you're saying though, Bay. I definitely do feel like somewhat defeated after a seasonals.
Yeah, it's also like
sorry, you go.
it's also like we more or less know what's going to be good at seasonals. Very, very rarely does anything take us by surprise, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe something spiked and did well in top 32 we didn't expect, but that's like more on variation. Like that's more like kind of RNG and like what matchups they ran into than anything else. So like we don't talk about the metagame breakdown because we already know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Unless it's like vastly different. So we usually just talk about our own personal runs, what we expect,
things we could have done better.
Things we could have done better, maybe things we would have changed, right? And then we move on because there's like nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. This just in, there was a lot of Ari Kennen that made top 32.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, wait, people switched to more polarized decks in top 32? Like,
no.
What? Yeah, it's just like not surprising, so we just don't talk about it. Could a lot of people benefit from us talking about it? Probably, but we don't even think to talk about it.
Also, though,
like
it's already just on to the next thing.
It's just on to the next thing.
If anyone doesn't know, views for like our website and YouTube videos, Twitch streams go like do seasonals. For like in the ground, you can't even see where the line is. For it used to be a week until the new cards came and it popped back up again because it's done, it's over. It's like after the Super Bowl. Why isn't everyone just making a bunch of shows about like the Super Bowl again? It's like, you say some stuff, you're like Brady still killed it, cool, let's go next season.
To be clear, right? It's a build up to open rounds and then it's dead before
It's dead before top 32.
Dead before the top 32, yeah.
On this season. So we just have like 2 or 3 days before the next patch, right? That's how it works.
Well, top 32.
Like, it's Saturday, Sunday, and
on
then
Tuesday.
Yeah. So that week, you're right. That week was dead even before top 32.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
If you're a content creator at all and you're looking to take a break, that's the week to do it.
It's gone now, baby. It's gone.
And then, thank God. I hated that break.
I hated that break.
It, man.
Fuck it.
That week was miserable because you'd sit there and you'd top 32 and you just agonize over what you're going to bring because you know your first round opponent, which was the worst part. And you just be like, ugh.
And also, and everyone that didn't make top 32 just fucking chilled for 10 days. I was like, I guess I'll just do nothing.
Yeah, they're like, now what do we do? Yeah.
Dick around the ladder playing fun decks or something? I don't know. But now it's going to be like seasonals, open rounds, top 32, crown a champion, new cards, new set, new patch, new season, go immediately.
Hype. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Hype all the way through.
Players, but us content creators. Also, really important. I love how your chat bot just every now and then flames you for not being masters.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I've played about 10 games this season, 15. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So funny. I started streaming, making YouTube videos, the podcast, the website, all this shit, so that I could just like play the game a bunch. And now I just don't fucking play the game at all ever, and have like no fucking time to do it, which is sad.
Nerd.
I mean,
nice
I'm
shirt,
the same
bro.
way. Like,
thanks.
I have the long sleeve version of basically exactly that.
I do too.
It's comfy.
Like I play the
You look
game
good.
for a living. I'm on camera playing the game every day, and I feel like the majority of time I don't get to play the game. I play the game on stream, and I play different decks every day on YouTube, and that's not the same. And so, yeah, when I want to like practice or like climb ladder, I have to cut out a piece of my day, right? An hour and a half of time and be like, okay, this is try hard time. We're not going to record it or whatever. Like, just going to focus. And then I broke that rule and try hard it on camera.
And here's the big fucking problem. Like, there's $20,000 in seasonals. It's 1,000 people. Your EV is like $20 if you actually came first in all the other ranks at some point. In reality, your EV is like probably like $0. And what? And you're gonna put in like tens of hours, hundreds of hours to fucking try to be competitive and like, you know, try to win it. It's like you could just spend that time doing fucking anything else and like have, you know, with some great returns. So it's hard. It's hard to justify it.
Yeah, no, you can't play seasonals for the money.
That's true. That's true. You also can't sit on a podcast for an hour for no money. So I got a dip.
Damn. All right. Well, you know what? I think we all have to fucking dip. I have to get on a plane to Vegas in 7 hours. So I still have to pack and shit. So we will get to the rest of those questions next week and probably add some more on them.
God, Henneky so great. Sorry, I'll see you guys later.
I fucking love that kid. All right, later, guys.
See ya.
Peace.